Today, I'm going to show you how to measure yourself, or at least 3 basic measurements of yourself. Obviously, there are more, and if you want to get into those after watching this video, please do let me know in the comments down below. What we don't always consider is that brands, or a variety of different brands, have different fit models. That means a person that resembles the ideal person that they are designing for. So, for example, a teenager range would have a teenage body, and those proportions are very different from someone who is in their mid-50s or 60s. So depending on the brand where you are buying, they'll have different fit models, and therefore the clothes will fit differently. So a small is not a universal small. A medium is not a universal medium. And you have to know your exact measurements in order to find your correct size within that brand. I believe all of us should have these 3 measurements saved on our phone, because we probably do more online shopping than what we do shopping in person. You shouldn't feel restricted to buy from different lines that might not correspond with the age you are currently in. And I say that because we all have unique bodies. The 3 basic measurements we are going to do today are going to be bust, waist, and hips. That's all. I'm going to show you how to take them and give you a few pointers after taking them. So let's go into measuring. When measuring yourself, you can't make use of a flat ruler like this one. This is not going to work. You need a bendable, flexible measuring tape like this one, or similar ones that are made out of paper. But I do find it quite useful to have this on hand, maybe within your closet, even if you're not a designer or work with this every single day. The second thing you want to do is take off your clothes but keep on your underwear. And very important, if you do wear a bra, I recommend wearing the everyday bra that you wear most days. If you fluctuate between bras, I would say have a variety of them, especially if some of them are heavy filled cups. In other words, if it's like a push-up bra or you need something with inserts, some days and other days you might wear just a t-shirt bra or something, you know, with like very thin or no padding whatsoever. You want to make a note of both of those, because that's definitely going to make a difference in the measurement of your bust size. And of course, if you don't wear a bra on a daily basis, then don't wear a bra when doing these measurements. Bonus points if you can find a measuring tape with the imperial system on one side and the metric system on the other side. So in other words, having inches on the one side and centimeters on the other. Alright, let's start with the bust. I'm going to get my hair out of my way, and you want to take your tape and you're going to start with the smaller numbers, of course, and you're going to put it around the back, right? Almost like where your bra is. You can use that as a guidance. If you're not wearing a top, it's obviously going to be easier to see that. And you can do this in front of a mirror. And you're going to take it on the widest part of your bust. So you can move the tape around so it's on the biggest part of your bust. So not underneath your boob, not on top of your boob, but right on the boob. So it's probably going to be where your nipples will be, approximately, depending on the age, on your specific age, because that will also influence where they sit. And then you're going to have a look exactly where the tape meets one another. So it's going to be right over here, and you are going to take a note of that. So I have my centimeters in front of me, and then if I twist it around, I can actually have a quick look on the inches as well, and I can jot down the centimeters as well as the amount of inches of my bust size. Now, if you are wearing different bras throughout the week, I would go and put on my second bra and make a note where I say, for example, push-up bra, or if you have a specific name that you call that bra, then have that measurement with that bra, and then of course t-shirt bra and the second measurement. Right, onto waist. We're just going to move the tape down, and we are going to look in the mirror, and we're going to find the smallest part of your waist. So not where your jeans or your trousers or something ends, because again, you're not going to be wearing clothes, right? So it's going to be much easier. It's also not going to be in line with your belly button. It is the smallest part. So you can move it around like this, and it will probably find that natural thinnest bit, and then you're going to take it around again, and where it matches up, that is going to be your measurement. So again, you're going to look at your centimeters and then at your inches. And the reason why I like doing the centimeters as well as inches is because a lot of brands that I buy from are not necessarily within the same region. So some of them might be European brands, which will be using centimeters, and then I also buy from American brands, and those mostly use inches. But you can also go onto the website, and usually they'll have like a little toggle button where you can swap around between centimeters and inches. I know my measurements in centimeters off by heart, but I don't know them in inches, and therefore I sometimes quickly have to look at my phone. All right, onto hips. Hips, you want to go the widest part of your hips. So in the camera or in the mirror, it's going to be quite obvious. It's going to be, my viewfinders are quite a little bit small, so I can't really see where my hands are, but it's going to be approximately here. So let's see, I'm going to put it around my bum. Don't let this tape fall below your bum. Go onto your bum, widest part, right there, you can see it's my widest part of my bum. I'm going to bring it around, widest part of my hip, and you don't want to go and try and be smaller now and like cinch in your, or twist your legs in order to have a smaller measurement, because you're not going to fit into the clothing if you measure yourself incorrectly, right? Don't try and do that. And you're going to, again, if you're sure of the placement of your tape, you're going to have a look at your centimeters and again at your inches. And that's it. That's your 3 basic measurements. I'm now going to show you how these measurements translate in you shopping online and how they can be useful. This tunic, this is of course a top. You're not going to wear this as a dress. It's also got slits here on the side, so you're going to wear this over probably a long pair of trousers and maybe like a flowy pant or something. And if you want to buy this, you have to consider all 3. Why? Because it covers your bust, your waist, as well as your hips. Although it's quite flowy at the bottom, and if you look at the pictures, that's always a great indication, especially if they have models with various weights, right? So if it's like a thinner model or someone with a little bit more flesh, then it's great to see how that garment fits, and always look at the model closest to what you look like. Right, so say your waist is 66 centimeters, 26 inches, then you're going to have a look at your sizing chart, and if you see the small corresponds with something like that, as well as then your bust and your waist measurement, taking that into consideration, you can know that this is going to fit you, but this is not going to be tight in your waist because the design of this is going to be looser. So it's going to be the exact right amount of, I want to say, breathing space, loose, for a 66 waist. Now, the difficult thing is, what if, especially with something like this, where you have to consider all 3 measurements, right? You still land between 2 different sizes. I always think, what are the most important measurements for a garment? For this, it's going to be probably your bust, because you need to get it over your bust. It's going to be very loose around your waist, so that's okay. You can maybe disregard your waist a little, because again, like you can see, it doesn't have a lot of shaping in the waist. And then it's quite loose around your bum. You have to consider them, but the most important one here is going to be your bust, right? You want to make sure that it's going to sit correct over here. So when thinking about your measurements, always think, what is the most important for this garment, or the garment you are looking at buying? And then secondly is probably, do you like a looser or more fitted look in a specific part of your body? and that is going to help you make a decision as to what size to buy. Say you see this blazer online and you want to buy it, and you need to make a decision on which size to get, especially if you haven't bought from this brand before, because a great idea would be to check what size you have in your closet from this brand. But say you don't have that, okay, you have to go to the sizing chart and you might be in between sizes. All right, so let's think about this for a second. Does our hip measurement need to be considered here? No, not really, right? Because this blazer is not going to sit as snug around our hips, so we don't really have to take that into consideration. The two most important measurements out of the three that we just took are going to be the bust and the waist. And a third measurement that, again, we can go into a next video will probably be the size of your shoulders. For example, I have a rather small bust in comparison to my hips, but if I take into consideration my shoulders, you'll see they're much more in line with my hips, right? Which means I have quite broad shoulders with a smaller bust, and therefore I usually take a one size up from the usual top size that I wear when buying blazers. But rule of thumb, if you're buying a blazer or a coat, you are going to consider not really your hip measurement as much, but more the size of your waist, your bust, and maybe your shoulders. Right, say you want to buy this top. The model wearing this top in the photo, you could clearly see that this sits quite cropped. It was not within her waist, just maybe below her waist, but definitely not reaching her hips. So again, for this, we are not going to consider our hip measurements. We don't need that because it's not going to cover our hips, right? So you want to take into consideration your bust measurements, right, with the correct bra that you'll be wearing underneath this, and your waist measurements. For this skirt sits in your waist. You're obviously going to consider the waist size as well as your hip size. But small caveat, right? You can see that it's quite flowy, and it's definitely not going to sit as snug around your hips as, say, a bodycon dress. So the most important measurement out of the three is going to be your waist. Your hips, for example, if I see that I might be slightly in between a, say, extra small and a small because of my small waist, I'll have a look at the hip size, and I don't have to be too strict with that because the hip size on the sizing chart might be 1 or 2 centimeters or 1 inch apart from one another, and it's not going to make a massive difference within this skirt. So the most important part is it going to sit in my waist, is it the correct size for my waist? And then you probably have to consider, will your bum actually fit in here? But the most important measurement is going to be your waist, and you can disregard your bust for this one. Taking your measurements and making sure things fit you right saves you so much time, saves you return costs, saves you trips to the post office or wherever you need to drop it off, and makes your life so much more easy. And it also helps you get to understand your body and what looks good on you, and really streamlines your shopping experience. I hope that you've got your measurements saved, and if you don't, are you going to do it now? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Have a good one.